Hello, everyone.
Hello, Rolf. How are you?
How's everyone? How are you all doing? Is
Baruch
everyone
Hashem.
well?
Fine. Yes, thank you, Rolf.
Good.
How are
What's
you
new?
doing?
Baruch Hashem, how are you all doing?
Good.
So nice.
Rob,
Hello, Marky. What's
how are you,
news?
Rob? I'm trying to get my
Guys?
camera on. There we go.
Oh, Marky.
Hello,
Just-
chaps.
Don't fall asleep, Marky.
I'll try. With you reading, I can only fall asleep.
That's the way I feel.
So nice to see you laughing. It's so nice.
Yeah.
So nice.
Swear.
At least
We go back
Okay.
a few years, Rolf. We go back a few years.
it's not matter of
Mark
going
myself.
years, thing is stuff, and we need to find some time, a reason to laugh. And
That's right.
I think that we're 4 minutes behind, so I think that I should start the shiur. So, בעזרת השם, נעשה ונצליח, והשם עלינו ברחמיו ירוויח. We're going to dedicate the shiur in honor of the soul of Esther Kaden bat Ketia, Mordechai ben Rahma, Arab Avraham Chaim ben Eliezer Yaakov, Tamar bat Zehava, Rachel bat Malka Sultana, Yaakov ben Farha, Dvora Ruth בת אליהו, נשמתם תהיה צרורה בצור החיים. And in speedy healing for all of the people that injured during those 3 weeks, those 3 difficult weeks in Eretz Israel and all over the world. And we're gonna especially dedicate that to רפואה שלמה, to ליאורה בת מרים, מנשה נג'י בן פרחה, אורנה בלומה בת מרים, הרב אברהם בן מרינה, הרב שלמה יהודה בן דליה, הרב משה בן דבורה, מרדכי דוד בן לאה, משה בן דבורה, חיים נחום בן צבי הכהן, חנה שרה בת דבורה, דבורה בת אסתר, שלמה פנחס בן שי נפישה, ואהובה קדן בת טלי אסתר. Please God, רפואה שלמה to all of them and speedily recover to all of them. אמן כן יהי רצון. So בעזרת השם נעשה ונצליח והשם עלינו ברחמיו ירוויח. We're going to start now. We'll do the introduction for Parashat Naso. By the way, Parashat Naso is one of the longest parashot. There's many psukim on it. And there's a lot to speak about it. So the introduction is a bit long, but bear with me. So at the beginning of the Parsha, the Torah tells us about the counting, the continuation of the counting of the Shevet Levy, the tribe of Levy. And there we see that, a matter of fact, that this time the Torah tells us to count the tribe of Bnei Gershon, the children of Gershon, that they was their job to carry the curtain. After that, the Torah continues and tells us to count Bnei Merari, the children of Merari, that he was also the son of Levy. He was the 3rd son and the Lameki of Levy. And the job of the Bnei Merari was that they was carrying the wooden pin and the wooden pole that belonged to the tabernacle. After that, the Torah continue and tell us a very strange halacha regarding the keeping the holiness of the tent of Israel, and every person that was contaminated obligated to leave the tent. And there is 3 kinds of tent that the Torah tell us. It's Mahane Shechina. Mahane Shechina, just to explain to you, that's Oel Moed, the tent of meeting, okay? That's where the Kohanim used to work. And then there is Mahane Leviah. Mahane Leviah is where the Levite used to work. And after that, there is Mahane Israel. And it was 3 people that actually not allowed to enter, because 3 people that contaminated with certain thing. And the one is the Metzorah, a person that had a leprosy. The second one is a Zav. Zav that he has discharge, okay? And the third one is Tmemet. Tmemet is a person that become contaminated because he was in close to a dead body, to a deceased, okay? He come in contact with the deceased. So the Metzorah have to leave all of those three camps that we mentioned, Mahane Keuna, Mahane Shechina, okay? Then there is Mahane Leviya, and then there is Mahane Israel. That's the person that was contaminated, okay? That he have Metzorah. What it means Metzorah? Leprosy. Then we have the Zav. The Zav not allowed to be, also have to leave the Mahane Shechina and Mahane Leviya. That means the tent of meeting, that obviously Oel Moed, and Mahane Leviya, the tent of the Levi. The last one, Mahane, the person that was Tmemet, okay, he can stay inside the tent of Israel, and Israel inside the tent of Leviya, the tent of the Levy. But the tent of Shechina, he can't be there. After that, the Torah tells us about stealing, and when a person steals, actually when they rob, is obligated to return what he robbed, to take it back to whoever he robbed. And the fourth thing that the Torah speak is about the law of the Sota woman, that Be'ezrat Hashem will speak about it today in the show. After that, the Torah speak about a Nazarite. When a person take on himself to become a Nazarite, that he's not allowed to cut his hair, not allowed to drink wine, and not allowed to get contaminated to his close relationship. Be'ezrat Hashem will speak about it also. And the sixth thing that the Torah speak, that HaKadosh Baruch Hu command Moshe Rabbeinu to tell Aharon HaKohen and his children, the Kohanim, that they're obligated to do, to bless Bnei Israel. And that's to bless Bnei Israel, that's the Birkat Kohanim. The seventh thing that the Torah speak in our Parsha is something very, very interesting, and in details, is the sacrifice of the 12 tribes when it was the inauguration of the tabernacle. In our Parsha, we see that there is 7 positive commands and 11 negative commands. So that was the introduction to the Parsha, and now we're gonna do the Parsha herself. Louis, don't forget to unmute yourself, because I mute everyone, don't forget to unmute yourself. And the Torah says like this, וידבר אדוני אל משה לאמור. Naso et Gershon הם לבית אבותם למשפחותם. בכבוד, לואי.
Take a census of the sons of Gershon as well, accordingly to their father's household, according to their families.
Okay. We see here that the Torah tells us that we have to count the house of the children of Gershon. So just to put you a little bit, to give you a bit of idea what's happening. Levy, that was one of the children of Yaakov Avinu. Levy, one of member of the 12th tribe, he have 3 sons, and he have Gershon, that was the oldest, Kehat was the middle son, and Merari, as we mentioned, that was the Lameki. And we see here that HaKadosh Baruch Hu command Moshe Rabbeinu to count how many people there is in the house of Gershon. And many of the Mefarshim ask, wait, what's happening here? Gershon is the oldest son. And you count them second, because in a previous Parsha, in Parashat Bamidbar, we already count, the Torah tells us that they count already Bnei Kehat. Many of the Mefarshim say, what's happening here? Gershon, Bnei Gershon, he was the oldest one. That was the oldest. But he been counted only second in this Parsha we see, because Bnei Kehat already been counted in a previous Parsha. So that means that the counting of Bnei Kehat was before Bnei Gershon. How can it be that you count the middle son before the older son, before the Bechor? That's a famous question that all the Mefarshim. And Be'ezrat Hashem, Rabotai, I'm going to do today Pshat, Remez, Drash, Sod on one pasuk. Be'ezrat Hashem. So the Mefarshim explain, you know why they count first Bnei Kehat, that he was the middle, because Bnei Kehat there was Talmidei Chachamim. On a Pshat of the Dvarim, there was holy people. And they was scholar person. Not that the other wasn't, all of them was Talmidei Chachamim. But Bnei Kehat, they was Talmidei Chachamim Muvhakim, that mean real Talmidei Chachamim, proper scholar person. That's on a Pshat of the Dvarim. According to other idea, because Bnei Kehat was the one that was carrying all the interior vessel of the tabernacle. And what does it mean? The interior vessel, it means that they used to carry the holy ark. Aron Haidut, that means the ark. Not only that, they used to carry the menorah, they used to carry the shulchan, and they used to carry Mizbeach HaZahav. That means all the vessel that was inside the tabernacle, that not everyone can see, they used to carry it. That's another explanation. The Gaon Hida, Rabbi Chaim Yosef David Azulai, that born in Jerusalem 297 years ago, he explained that the main reason that it's been given the job to Bnei Kehat to be count first and to carry the interior vessel of the tabernacle, it's for the simple reason. Because if the Torah will tell us that Gershon, Bnei Gershon, the children of Gershon, that's their job, many people will come and say, you know what, a matter of fact, we learn from here that the Holy Torah is passing by heritage. You see, because who's the firstborn, we give him the Torah. If not that, you can see it. So therefore, who's obligated to learn Torah? Only the firstborn. And they find excuse not to learn Torah. So say the Gaon Hida, no. The Torah come and tell us that Bnei Kehat, the middle child, he been count first, and he will carry all the interior vessel of the tabernacle. You know why? To teach us that there is no apotropos, there is no apotropos. And the Torah, that means our holy Torah, will not pass by heritage. That means that everyone can come and learn Torah, and if he's scholar enough, he will merit to get it. And it doesn't make a difference who is his father. It doesn't make a difference if his father is a rabbi or his father is a rebbe. No. Even a simple people like us, that if we learn Torah properly and we become scholar person, we can do it. That's what the Torah come to teach us, that everyone have a heritage in our Torah, not only the firstborn. Now I'm going to go in a deeper meaning. And you have to focus with me to understand why Dafka Bnei Gershon was the one that been counted first, okay? And why they the one that been appointed by Kadosh Baruch Hu, obviously, to carry all the interior vessel of the tabernacle. And especially said the interior vessel, and you'll see now why. And I specifically explained that that's the Holy Ark, Aron Haidut, okay, the Shulchan, the table, the menorah, and the Mizbeach HaZahav. That means, and all the other vessel that was inside the tabernacle. And you'll see now why. So I saw a beautiful commentary that I read in a book that's called Doresh Tzion. Doresh Tzion is one of the books that I quote a lot of his commentary. And that book belonged actually to Harav Ben Zion Mushafi. Harav Ben Zion Mushafi, I mentioned him in the past. He born in Jerusalem 75 years ago. He's still alive, Baruch Hashem, he's one of the great poskim in Eretz Israel today. And he, in his book, Doresh Tzion, he brings a beautiful idea why Dafka Bnei Kehat was the one to carry it. And he explained like this. And he said like this, that we know that the Torah tells us that a person that touch or see any one of those vessels, that means the interior vessel, anyone that look at Aron HaKodesh, anyone that touch Aron HaKodesh or the table or the menorah or the Mizbeach HaZahav, immediately die. And he say that this job can be only suitable for Bnei Kehat. Why? Because Bnei Kehat have the ability, Bnei Kehat have the ability to control themselves, number one, and to be organized that has v'shalom, not to look and not to touch any one of those vessels, all the interior vessels. And to understand that, just to give us a reality, how does it work? I'm going to tell you a story that it's mentioned in the book of Melachim, the book of King, number 2, in chapter 4, verse 8. And listen to this, what Hazal tell us in that story. And from here, we can learn something amazing. Hazal tell us about Elisha Navi, the prophet Elisha. Prophet Elisha arrived in the city of El Shunam. El Shunam, it's a place, it's actually east to what we call today, east to Afula, to the city of Afula, in a valley of Emek Israel. And there was, the Pasuk say, Isha Gdola, a big woman. What it mean, a big woman? It's referring that she was a great woman, righteous woman, okay? And when she saw that the prophet Elisha arrived in El Shunam to that place, she asked from her husband to build him a room in their house, a separate room, and she will look for all the necessary things that the prophet Elisha needs. That means that she will look after him, she will cook for him, she will provide for him food and everything that he needs to live there. But she asked her husband that because they have in the property, they have a place for another room, but the room wasn't finished. All it needed, it had 3 walls, it needed the 4th wall with a frame and to put a roof. And she asked her husband, he will be willing to allow to do it. And the husband said to her, yes, yeah. And immediately many of the Mefarshim asked, why is the wife have to ask the husband? Why is it so important that this great woman, this tzaddiket woman, such a righteous woman, have to ask her husband, she have to ask her husband to allow Elisha Navi to live with him. And they call her Hashunamit. That was the question of Hazal. That question, by the way, Rabotai, Hazal asking. And the answer to it come in Midrash de Rabbi Eliezer Agadol. In chapter 32, he explained like this. Listen to what I'm telling you and you'll understand how is that story fit with Bnei Kehat. So in Midrash de Rabbi Eliezer, the Pirkei de Rabbi Eliezer, in chapter 32, it's Hazal tell us there that Elisha was such a holy man that the Holy Spirit was on him all the time. And because he was so holy, every woman that would see his face would die. If she would look at his face, she will die immediately. And now we can understand why the Shunamit asked her husband to allow such a great man, the prophet, to come and to live with him. What does it mean? That Hazal explained there that the Shunamit said to her husband, I will willing to take on myself, to control myself, and to work on myself, not to look at the face of Elisha Hanavi. Because if her husband was worried that, God forbid, she look at his face and she'll die. But she given him a promise that she will do everything that's in her power, and she can control her desire not to look at the face of Elisha Hanavi. Hazal continue and tell us there something very extraordinary. Hazal tell us that, as a matter of fact, Elisha, the prophet Elisha, used to live in a field. Why? Because he was so frightened that people will look at him, and if they look at him, they will die. He knew it. So what has he done? He used to live in a field. And as a matter of fact, if he needed to go to places that there is people, he used to cover himself, his face completely. So no one can see his face. And he never used to go to people's house. Why? Because if someone will offer him something to drink, something to eat, it will be a problem, because he have to move his cover to eat and to drink, and then people will look at his face and then they will die. But the Shunamit, Hazal tell us in a Gemara in Masechet Brachot in page 10, folio 2, that here Shulamit also hinted something to her husband. She said to her husband, by that we're going to give a place to the prophet Elisha in our place, okay, we learn from here that his servant Gehazi wasn't holy. That means that lo alenu, that Gehazi wasn't good. Okay. That's Hazal telling. But we learn from here that when HaKadosh Baruch Hu brought his holiness on Elisha Hanavi, whoever looked at him, okay, would die. The same story applicable to Bnei Kehat. Why? Because we say that Bnei Kehat used to carry the interior vessel of the tabernacle. And God forbid, if someone would look at the Urim or Tumim, or the Holy Ark, or will touch one of those vessels, or will look at the menorah, or while they're in a journey, and those curtain that's covering them, if one of them will move and they will look at one of those vessels, immediately they will die. So Hazal say, do you know why did HaKadosh Baruch Hu told Aaron to tell Bnei Kehat to do this job? Because Aaron, because they told Moshe to tell Bnei Kehat to carry the interior vessel of the tabernacle. Because the children of Bnei Kehat have a self-control not to look and not to touch. And that's the main reason that Bnei Kehat, number one, being counted first, and number two, why they carry all the vessel, that the interior vessel of the tabernacle. And while I'm talking to you, and I'm thinking, something else came to me. If you remember, the Torah tells us that Moshe Rabbeinu, in a wilderness, Vekaran Pnei Moshe. What does it mean, Vekaran Pnei Moshe? Hazal tell us that the face of Moshe Rabbeinu becomes suddenly so bright, so holy, that Moshe needed to cover his face. Why? From here, it came to me, it's just now came to me, it's suddenly on the spot, that Moshe Rabbeinu was so holy that he needed to cover himself, because if Bnei Israel would look at him, Chas v'shalom, they would die. After Moshe Rabbeinu gone up to heaven, when he came down from heaven, Moshe Rabbeinu's face completely becomes so holy, and his body becomes so holy that Bnei Israel couldn't look at him. That Chas v'shalom, they would look at him, they will die. And that's why also Moshe Rabbeinu need to cover himself. That's what came to me now. Okay, let's continue. And let's move to verse now I'm moving to chapter 5, verse 2. In chapter 5, verse 2, the Torah tells us something very interesting. צב את בני ישראל וישלחו מן המחנה כל צרוע וכל זב וכל טמא לנפש.
Let's hang on, Rob. Verse 2.
Verse 2.
Yeah. Command the children of Israel that they shall purify and they shall expel from the camp everyone with tazar, everyone who has had a zav, a mission, and everyone contaminated by the human corpse.
Okay, so let me explain what's happening here. Our Holy Torah tells us something very interesting, that HaKadosh Baruch Hu told Moshe Rabbeinu to tell the children of Israel that a person that is, number one, it's tzarua that have leprosy, then a zav that have a mischarge, let's call it mischarge to explain it properly. V'chol tameh. Tameh, that means a person that got contaminated to a disease. Okay. And the Torah command those three people actually to leave the camp of the Jewish people. And we have to understand, why do they have to discharge from the camp? Why is it? After all, they're only in the wilderness. So what difference does it make? So to answer that, I saw a commentary of the Rabbi Avraham Azulai. Rabbi Avraham Azulai, born in the city of Fez in Morocco 451 years ago. Rabbi Avraham Azulai was the grandfather of the Gaon Hida, Rabbi Chaim Yosef David Azulai. And he explained that the camp of the Jewish people was 12 mil on 12 mil. That means 12 mile on 12 mile. And by that it was in a wilderness, although that it was in a wilderness, but because Bnei Israel camped there and they turned that camp of them, it have the Kedusha of Eretz Israel. And that's why any one of those three that we mentioned that have those certain of contamination, obligated to discharge from the camp. And now we're going to explain why Dafka those three. There's many other contamination that Hazal speak about, but they don't have to leave the camp. Only the Metzorah, a person that have tzarat, a person that is a zav, that have a discharge, and a person that contaminated to a disease. That means that come in contact with the disease and it become contaminated. That's Tmei Nefesh. So the Gaon Hida, now the great-grandson, explaining it, he say something extraordinary. Listen to that and listen how he put things in proportion and how the Gaon Hida turn it to a sword that there is behind it. So he said to us, a person that have leprosy, on what merit a person get a leprosy? A person that worship idols. He say that a person that took Lashon Hara, okay, also get it. Why? He said that the person that speak Lashon Hara also get leprosy, not only the person that have idol worshiping. He said, why? Because Hazal tell us in the Gemara in Masechet Arachim, listen to that. Rabotai, listen to that carefully in page 15, folio 2. Hazal said that the person that speak Lashon Hara, it is worse than three, there is three averot, there is three sin in the Torah that the Torah tell us, Yihareg ve'al ya'avor. That means he must kill himself, okay, and not do those averot. And the one avera is Avodah Zarah. Avodah Zarah is idol worshipping. The second one is murder. And the third one is immorality. If any one of those avera come, if people force them to do it, he rather kill himself and not do them. While all the rest, the averot that there is in the Torah, a person tell us that in Shat HaThak, פיקוח נפש דוחה הכל. Okay. So the Torah come and tell us that the Metzora, what is the problem with the Metzora? Is idol worshipping. Okay. And Lashon Hara. Okay. Then the Zav, what it means the Zav? A person that have discharge, let's call it. Okay. Who really received this kind of contamination? A person that lo alenu, that sin with immorality. Why? Because Hazal explained that there is here measure for him, measure. On a place that he sinned, that will he be punished. Midah keneged midah. B'makom shepagam, bo yilke. Hazal say that on a place that he sinned, that's where he been punished. Okay, that's a person that the Zav. Then we have Tmei Nefesh. What is the Tmei Nefesh? Tmei Nefesh is a person that contaminated to whom? To a dead body. That means he become in contact, or he was in a room that was a dead body. And Hazal said that this one awards what? Shpichut damim. As Hazal tell us in Sefer Dvarim, Parashat Re'eh, Perek Yud-Bet, Pasuk Kav Gimel, Ki Adam hu hanefesh, because the blood is the soul. So we learn from here something extraordinary, say the Gaon Hida. You learn from here that the Metzora is Avodah Zarah, idol worshipping. Zav, a person that have a mischarge, okay, that because he sinned in immorality. Two. Tmei Nefesh, it's Shpichut Damim, a person that sinned with Shpichut Damim, that he committed murder. Say that you learn from here, which one is the worst from all of the three that not can enter any one of the 10? Is a person that is Metzora. Who's that? Lashon Hara. And Hazal tell us in the Gemara in Masechet Arachim, page 15, folio 2, that a person that speaks Lashon Hara is even worse, if not equivalent. Okay, it's equivalent, if not worse, to the 3 averot that there is in the Torah. And what are they? We say number 1 is murder, nachon? Avodah Zarah, immorality, and murder. That means a person that speaks Lashon Hara, what he can do. And we're soon going to see what is Lashon Hara. We'll explain now, Be'ezrat Hashem, what is Lashon Hara. So we learn from here, you know why Dafka those 3? Because each one of them is equivalent to Avera. The one is Avodah Zarah, the other one is immorality, and the third one is Has v'Shalom lo alenu murder. And the worst of all of them, Hazal tell us in the Gemara Arachim, 15 folio 2, Lashon Hara, a person that speaks Lashon Hara. Okay, in verse 3, and now we're going to explain a little bit about Lashon Hara. We're going to try to understand what is Lashon Hara. Mizachar ad nekeva tishalchu mechutz lamachane, אל מחוץ למחנה, תשלחום ולא יטמאו את מחניהם, אשר אני שוכן בתוכם.
Male and female alike shall you expel to the outside of the camp, and you shall expel them, so they should not contaminate the camps among campus among of which I dwell.
Okay. So here the Torah tell us that according to the Pshat of the Dvarim, this is the Pshat, that any one of those people that contaminated with those 3 that we mentioned, it doesn't make a difference if it's a female or a male, you must send them outside of the camp. And many of the Mefarshim ask, why? Obviously, if he's contaminated, what difference does it make if it's a male or a female? It's nish gafela, it's contaminated. You have to leave. So on the Pshat of the Dvarim, it's tell you male and female. So first of all, let's explain what is Lashon Hara And for you to understand, there's two different kinds of Lashon Hara. There is Lashon Hara, a male Lashon Hara, and there is a female Lashon Hara. And that's what's the hint here, Hazal say. The Torah here comes to hint to us that there is two kinds of Lashon Hara. And we have to understand what is the Lashon Hara that the Torah tells us. What is a female? What is a male? What is the difference? But before we start with that, I would like to explain what is Lashon Hara. There is Lashon Hara that, number one, that causes damage, and Lashon Hara that doesn't cause damage. And above all of them, there is Motzi Shem Ra. Okay, what's the difference between all of them? Lashon Hara, it's a person that tells the truth. That's Lashon Hara. He saw Chaim Yankel doing something. He go and tell to Chaim Shmerel, listen, that's what he do. That's Lashon Hara. There is worse than that, Motzi Lashon Hara. What it means, Motzi Lashon Hara? He making things that never happened. That's mean telling lie about someone. That's Motzi Shem Ra. It's not Lashon Hara. That's Motzi Shem Ra. That's even worse. Okay? But we are busy with Lashon Hara. So the Torah tells us that if it's a male or a female, they're obligated to leave the camp. Hazal asked, what's the difference that the Torah have to tell me male or a female? According to the Pshat, we explain that it's to tell you that it doesn't make a difference if it's a male or a female, they have to leave. The Mefarshim say, זה לא פשוט. If the Torah tells us male and female, something hiding behind that. And here there is a remez. And the Torah comes to hint to us something very important. The Torah hint to us that there is Lashon Hara de Zachar. What it means Lashon Hara de Zachar? There is kind of a Lashon Hara like a male. And there is kind of Lashon Hara as a female. What's the difference between them? And I'm going to stop if you don't understand, and I'll give time for you. If you don't understand, please unmute and ask, because it's a very difficult subject, and I want to explain it properly. The Lashon Hara of male, we know that male can't give birth, while a female can give birth. So Hazal explained that the Torah come to into us that there is two different kinds of Lashon Hara. The first Lashon Hara of a male, that the person that speaks Lashon Hara about someone, and from that Lashon Hara, no harm can happen. No damage can happen. That's Lashon Hara of a female. Although that no damage happened, he's still obligated for punishment. He still have to leave the tent. He can't stay in a tent. But then there is a different Lashon Hara that's more difficult and worse. It's a Lashon Hara of a female, because we know that the female can get pregnant and can bring children to the world. He said there is a Lashon Hara that can cause damage. What is it? For example, a person spoke about Chaim Yankel, Lashon Hara, and he caused them damage. He spoke Lashon Hara about Chaim Yankel, and that person, because he heard that they spoke badly about Chaim Yankel, he decided not to do business with him. For example, a person wanted to buy a house, and come Mr. A, let's call him, and say to Mr. B, you want to buy the house? Say, yeah. Mr. A said to Mr. B, and he over-exaggerated that the trouble that this house have, it's not worth it to buy it, you're going to spend too much money, and etc. He over-exaggerated with his Lashon Hara that the buyer now cancel the deal. He doesn't want to buy anymore. That's considered Lashon Hara de Nekeva. What it means, the Nekeva, that cause harm to the seller. Or, for example, another example, there's many, that a person has shalom going to a shidduchim, and comes someone and speak badly about the husband, or speak badly about about the male or about the female, any over-exaggerating or making thing about even. And that's considered Lashon Hara Nekeva, that cause harm. And then the Shidduch been canceled. So the Torah come and tell us that there is two different kind of Lashon Hara. The one that can cause harm, that's like a male, that can't give birth to the world. Male doesn't give birth. There is another Lashon Hara that can cause damage to people. Why? Because from that you spoke badly, you cause other people to cancel the deal or not to do the business with them or not to do anything with them. So it says something extraordinary. It says from here you learn the Torah come to teach us and to hint to us there's two different kinds of Lashon Hara. The one of the Lashon Hara of a male, Hazal tell us that you have to understand that you have to be careful that the defamation that you give, okay, it have to be, number one, if you're already speaking and you have to give something, kind of a report, it have to be exactly. But if you add up and that cause harm, that's Lashon Hara Nekeva. So we learn from here that the person that speaks Lashon Hara, it doesn't make a difference if he cause harm or it doesn't cause harm, no matter what. He spoke Lashon Hara, and his punishment that he can't stay inside the camp. He have to leave the camp. So what does it mean? You learn from here, Rabotai, we learn something important. And I'm speaking to myself because you're all tzaddik. That Has v'Shalom, when a person speaks Lashon Hara, and we don't know, oops, how did it, oops, it came out of my mouth. How much we have to be careful with Lashon Hara. Because Lashon Hara just jump. And that the Yetzer Hara all the time doing it. And Hazal tell us in Masechet Arachim, 15 folio 2, that the person that speaks Lashon Hara, it's worse than 3 worst averot that there is in the Torah. And they are idol worshipping, immorality, and murder. How much we have to be careful with Lashon Hara. If anyone didn't understand, I will stop now and I'll give time for question, what usually I do in the end of the show, but I want you to understand that specific subject. No, okay, let's continue.
So Rabbi,
Sure,
sorry, it's Dean. Good evening, Rabbi. Just one question on the male Lashon Hara. Surely, I mean, we said it doesn't cause problems. Surely all Lashon Hara causes problems.
Steve, I couldn't hear you. I didn't hear the word of what you say. Please repeat it.
Can you hear me now, Rabbi?
I can.
So what I was saying is, in the Lashon Hara that the male Lashon Hara that we say doesn't cause damage. Can you give me an example? Because surely all Lashon Hara is going to cause some level of damage.
Okay, so I'll give you one. A person, Hazal given a person in a Gemara, what is Lashon Hara? Because Hazal asked, what is Lashon Hara? So he said, Haim Yankel come to Haim Shmerel, and he said, listen, I want to light my fire. So Haim Shmerel said to him, listen, I don't have fire for you, but go to Mr. X. Mr. X all day eating barbecue. All day his fire's on. You understand? What damage did he done? Nothing. Okay. He just told them that Mr. X eat all day. Fire. Yeah, okay. It's true. Okay. He eating. Lashon Hara, it's true. Didn't cause them any damage. You understand?
Yeah. Yes. Yes.
You follow?
Okay.
And also, Stephen, listen to the end. Hazal tell us, and the Torah come and put emphasis into it. A person like this, that's considered like Oved Avodah Zarah, idol worshipping, and he must not enter none of the 3 camp.
Okay.
Do you understand?
Understand.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you, Rabbi.
Okay. Good. Okay. Good. Good.
Can I ask,
Okay, let's
Rabbi?
continue.
Rabbi, can I ask
Sure.
that is that equivalent to the Kabbalistic idea of mashpia and mekabel, or got nothing to do with it?
Okay, so I'll answer what Orna asking. I didn't want to go to it, but
Okay,
Orna
all right, you
spoke
don't have
about
to.
that.
Okay, another time.
I will
Seder,
touch it.
it's fine.
So, as I explained in the Gemara, that when a person speaks Lashon Hara, what it speak Lashon Hara? There is a person that if Chaim Yankel tell Chaim Shmerel, listen, I saw Mr. X doing X, Y, Z. And Chaim Yankel say, okay, I listen, but he didn't take it seriously. Who gets punished? Only the person that took Lashon Hara. But the person that didn't took it and accept it doesn't get. What Orna tried to say, that when a person speaks Lashon Hara, it can actually affect three people. It affects the person that we speak about. It affects the person that speaks Lashon Hara, and it affects the person that listens to Lashon Hara. So we see from here that these three people that when you speak Lashon Hara can be affected from them. But I'll tell you a Hidush, Orna, listen to that. That when you speak about a certain congregation or about certain people, or edot, what we call, okay? Tribes. If we speak badly about tribes, how can you do tshuva? Because you have to go to all of those edot, to all the members of that tribe and ask for tshuva. That's even worse. I didn't want to go to where you've gone because it's a very complicated difficulties. I wanted to speak just on the tip of the depths, but I see that you love depths. So I'll sharpen it a bit more for you, so you will enjoy. When a person speaks Lashon Hara, for example, I'll give you example. A person come to the rabbi and telling him Lashon Hara about someone. There is here a problem. Why must I say a rabbi? Because usually a rabbi is the one that hears all the Lashon Hara in town. Why? Because this one speak about that, this one speak about that, and they come to tell the rabbi. The rabbi have to be so careful and to know how to serve everything and to let things go. But Hazal teach us that if you heard the same story twice or three times, you can't let it go. That means that it's not coming from one ears, go from the other ears. You should listen to it because yesh dvarim bego. There is something happening there. There is no smoke without a fire. So if you hear it first time, nish gefela, let it go. Come from one ears, let go from the other ears. If you hear it the second time or the third time, now you have to check it up. And sometime Chaim Yankel come and say to the rabbi, listen, Rabbi, I've done a deal with Mr. X. Mr. X is actually a crook. Okay. Why is he a crook? The rabbi asked. He said X, Y, Z. He said, I'm telling you that you should warn everyone else. Now the rabbi heard something. He can't just go from here to here. Come from one ear, go from the other ears. No. Because here, if the rabbi not going to take his word seriously, many other people might going to be caught by this Mr. X. And if that Mr. X going to catch another people, it means that you, the rabbi, knew about it. And if you knew about it and you allowed to happen, you actually made a stumbling hole. That means you cause a problem. So in that case, this is not Lashon Hara. This is to help the community to be careful if there is such a thing. Orna, I hope that I sharpen your question and I answer your question. If not, please ask if I didn't answer it properly.
Rabbi Levy?
Okay. Can we continue? Yes, yes,
Rabbi Levy?
sure. Hello? Sure.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you, yes. Who's speaking?
Adrian.
Adrian, how's it? Erev Tov, Ken. Bechavod.
Rabbi Levy, if somebody goes to a Rav and said, listen, I want to marry a girl, and the Rav thinks the girl is no good, as an example. A wants to marry B, and the Rav says, I don't think B's for you because of X, Y, and Z. Isn't that effectively Lashon Hara also?
No, why? Why is Lashon Hara?
Well, you're speaking bad
You
about the
go-
lady, or vice versa. The lady asked the Rav about a man, and the Rav says, no, you
Rega.
shouldn't marry the man because he's no good for you because of X, Y, and Z.
I think that you've been too long with the Israelis, too much with them in the shul. Vachabiki. If you go and ask the rabbi, listen, you ask the rabbi. The rabbi didn't hear it from someone else. You go on to the rabbi, and I know what specific story you're talking about, because the rabbi that we're talking about, he was a mystical rabbi. That rabbi been asked by who? By you. You go and ask them. Or Chaim Yankel go and ask them, or ask them. You have to tell me the truth. What do you want him to tell you? No, go and marry her? He see that it doesn't fit you. But to go and speak Lashon Hara is when someone come and tell you. But when you go and ask a rabbi for a question, for example, I want to do a business. I want to marry this lady, or I want to take a job. That this job is good for me? Is that job suit me? You think I will benefit from it? And if the rabbi say, no, you think that speak Lashon Hara? No, he told you, to you, it doesn't suit you.
Okay, but then,
This-
but
Doesn't suit you.
But we can use another
Doesn't it?
example. But you can use another example then. If someone comes to you as a Rav and says, listen, I want to go and work for, I've been offered a job to go and work at Moshe Gross's place, the
Yeah.
plumber, whatever he is.
Yeah.
Okay. Not whether it suits him or doesn't suit him. It's an issue that the man wants a job and that he's been offered a job at Moshe Gross. Now, if you were to go and tell him not to take the job because you think Moshe Gross is dishonest or something like that, is that not equivalent to speaking Lashon Hara?
No? What? You want a person to work for a full month and not get paid? זה עבירה. What? You want a person to work for a full month?
I don't think it's about necessarily getting paid or not getting paid.
And whatever is it, if a person take you to work for him, and you know by the end of the month, he used you and he never paid you.
Well, that's a different cheshbon completely.
But that's why it doesn't work. Because it doesn't fit. You can't work together. And the rabbi has to do his homework. And if the rabbi doesn't know, he says, I don't know this person. I don't want to get involved. I don't know. And nothing wrong with saying, I don't know. But if you know that Mr. X is well known that he takes people and he doesn't pay them their salary, and you still say to Mr. B, go work at Mr. X, who's going to be responsible for it? You.
Okay.
Why did you give him the permission to go and work when you know that Mr. X is a Glassman, Mr. X is a crook?
Okay, but Lashon Hara effectively is equivalent to murder because you can murder somebody with your mouth.
What? But here you didn't murder. This guy's a crook. And there is a mitzvah from the Torah to protect us from crook. The Torah tells us. ואהבת לרעך כמוך. יהי ממון חברך חביב עליך כשלך. You must love yourself, okay? You must love your fellow friend the same like you love yourself. You must love your money the same like you love your friend's money. That means I'm obligated to tell you the truth. And if I don't know if Mr. X is a question mark or not, I don't know nothing about it. I don't know. Ask someone else, but maybe no. But if I know, I'm obligated to tell you. But that's only when I know, and there is proof to it, that Mr. X is a problematic. You follow what I'm saying? And there is no.
You would know that Mr. X is problematic because you've heard it from 2 or 3 people, not because you heard it from one person, obviously.
It's not that I heard. I have to know it for a fact. What do you mean I hear it? There's many rumors. There's many rumors. Do you know the fact? I don't know the fact. I know the fact, I'm obligated to say. I don't know. What can I do?
Okay.
Do you understand the difference? That's it. Okay. Any more question? If not, we'll continue. Rabotai, let's move to verses. Actually, we're not going to read it. In verses 14, in chapter 5, verses 14 to verses 31, the Torah speak about the law of the Sota woman. And I want to put a little bit of emphasis about the Sota woman, and I tell you where I'm going to go, to which channel or which highway I'm going to take on a Sota woman. First of all, let me explain the story of the Sota woman, what's hiding behind it. The story of the Sota woman is when a husband jealous of his wife, or he's suspicious of his wife, that Chas v'Shalom, he thinks that his wife committed immorality. So what does he do? He take her to the Kohen, and the Kohen give her the bitter water, and he write on a scroll, the holy name of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and he took that scroll and he put it inside the water. And what's happened? He shake it, and the holy name of HaKadosh Baruch Hu get erased. And before he give it to drink, the Kohen have to ask her, listen, did you committed immorality? Did you committed a sin or not? If she say no, the Kohen have to ask her again, and he tell her, if you drink from those water, if you are not guilty, you didn't commit a sin, you're gonna be blessed to have children. Beautiful kids, lovely kids, smart kids, and etc. There the Gemara say, Rabbi Ishmael explained in Masechet Gittin. But listen to that. If she committed immorality with another man and she was married, okay, and she committed immorality, as she drinking the water, as she finish it, her stomach get bloated and bloated until she get explode. And the person that she committed immorality and at the same time gonna die, even if he's overseas, doesn't make a difference. They're both gonna die. But that's the story of Sota water, the Sota woman. But behind it, there is a beautiful and amazing message to us. And listen to it. Chazal say that one of the averot that we have in the Torah, that we're not allowed to raise the name of the Almighty. And that's been pasken by the Rambam, Rabbi Moshe ben Maimon. Rabbi Moshe ben Maimon, born in the city of Cordova in Spain 887 years ago. And he was the great eagle. In Halacha, he pasken that we're not allowed to raise any one of those 7 holy names of HaKadosh Baruch Hu that we know. So the Mefarshim immediately come and ask, wait, what's happening here? The Kohen now writing the name of the Almighty on a scroll, put it inside the water, he shake it, and the name of the Almighty get erased. How can it be? What's happening here? Chazal say from here you learn a beautiful message. that HaKadosh Baruch Hu said to us, to each person, I'm willing to raise my name, my holy name, on one condition, that will be peace between a husband and a wife, shlom bait. How much is important the shlom bait in the eyes of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And Hazal tell us something extraordinary. Listen to that. Hazal in Gemara Masechet Gittin, page 90, folio 2, say, Hamegaresh ishto harishona, a person that divorced his first wife, okay? Afilu mizbeach morid alav tmaot. Even the altar cry for him. Hazal tell us from here you learn in the eyes of HaKadosh Baruch Hu how important the peace between a husband and a wife. And alenu, there is tipshim, mamash tipshim, people really mishugana, stupid. What they do, they're pushing the nose where it's not belong. For example, you know, the in-law don't like the son-in-law, or the in-law don't like the daughter-in-law. And what they do, they cause a fighting between the husband and the wife. I know for a case, Rabotai, I know for a case, I'm frightened to give too much detail because I might gonna expose the person, but I try, that the father got involved on the marriage of the, I don't want to mention who, and he said to her, he said to his daughter, it's me or him. It's me or him. That was, what is the daughter gonna do? She have 2 little kids. She didn't know what to do. She was young. And she done what she done. And until today, I know for a fact how much she suffered. She separated from her husband, lo alenu. And she by herself. The husband got remarried, moved on. What is the parents have to get involved? HaKadosh Baruch Hu say he's willing to erase his name. And when we push our nose and we getting involved with something that not belong to us, I don't want to say what will be the punishment that's waiting for that person. I don't want to say what punishment when a person causing problem between a husband and a wife. HaKadosh Baruch Hu himself willing to erase his name that will be peace between a husband and a wife. And you come and try to separate between them? Oy lo v'oy lenafsho. You know what punishment he will get? It's beyond understanding. So the story, let's go back to the Sota, the story of the Sota. It's come to teach us how important that when a person do shlom bait. You know how many cases coming to me, I want a divorce. I say, why you want a divorce? Why, you think the grass next door is better? And when you sit together after half an hour, 3/4 an hour, and I show him that nothing better on the other side, how much he happy to go home. Sometimes people at the spur of the moment cross, it happens, because we're all human beings. אין צדיק בארץ אשר יעשה טוב ולא יחטא. That's a tzaddik. Normal human being, obviously. So it's HaKadosh Baruch Hu say, and we say it in the morning, in the tefillah in the morning, ואלה דברים שאין להם שיעור, הפאה והביקורים והרעיון וגמילות חסדים. ואלו הדברים שאדם עושה אותם, ואין לו, how's it say? ואין להם חלק, ויש לו חלק לעולם הבא. That means that he benefits in this world and the world to come. Ve'eluhem, a person, one of them, that the person that bring shalom ben adam lishto or ben adam lehavero. How important is it? אלו דברים שאדם עושה אותם ויש לו חלק לעולם הבא. That means not only here, that he benefit also on the world to come. שלום בין אדם לחברו ובין איש לאשתו. How important is it that when you see a couple and you see difficulty, instead of adding up salt into the wound, say how good wife she is, how good she is. If the Mizbeach crying, imagine what's happening in heaven. קשה זיווגם של ישראל כקריעת ים סוף. You remember we explained on Pesach how difficult it is for HaKadosh Baruch Hu to matchmaking. And you come and want to separate. Now, but sometime, I'm not saying there is a situation, unfortunately, they have to separate. There's cases that there is nothing you can do. If the wife committed immorality, halachically, she cannot stay with the husband. And malasot, and or if the one, well, and malasot. But we're not talking about that. We're talking in general. 90%, I'm telling you, if not 95% of the cases can be solved if people know how to speak to the husband and the wife. And that's what the Sota story comes to teach us. That HaKadosh Baruch Hu wants us to make shlom bayit, to make sure that the peace between a husband and a wife more important. And not for nothing the Torah tells us that when a person married a woman, ודבק באשתו ועזב את אביו ואמו, ועזב את אביו ואמו ודבק באשתו. When a person gets married, the first thing that he has to do to leave his mother and his father and to stick to his wife. Why? It's very simple. Because, and I tell you as a son, because the mother always protected of the son. She always wanted the best. For 20 years, for 25 years, 30 years of his life, she looked after him. And it's not easy to give his son to someone. You can't blame the mother. But from the other way, you have to leave them. I'm married, I'm opening a new life. But you must never forget obviously your parents. But the chokhmah is how to sell without reaching heavy wave. So all the time to try to maneuver. It's not easy. But that's the chokhmah. And that's what the Torah comes to tell us with the story of a Sota woman. To make peace between a husband and a wife. And that's the message that I wanted to speak about Sota women. Now I'm going to move on to chapter 6, verse 7. And here, Louis, chapter 6, verse 7. And here we see something very interesting. And here we speak about the Nazarite, the law of the Nazarite. Sure, the time is late. I'm going to do it short. And we'll see something very interesting about the Nazarite. Look what it says here. לאביו ולאמו, לאחיו ולאחותו לא יטמא, להם במותם, כי נזר אלוהיו על ראשו.
To his father or to his mother, to his brother or to his sister, he shall not contaminate himself to them upon their death. For the crown of his God is upon his head.
Okay. Here the Torah tells us that the Nazarite, a person that took on himself Nazarite for 30 days, for 6 months, for whatever is it, okay, he has an obligation that he cannot contaminate it to his close relative, for his father, to his mother, to his brother, to his sister. And the Mefarshim immediately stood up and asked, well, how can it be? And that one of the people that asked that question is Rabbi Aharon Levy. Rabbi Aharon Levy wrote Sefer HaChinuch. He born in the city of Gorondia in Spain 786 years ago. The Sefer HaChinuch, he explained the reason for the halachot that we have. every halachot that we have in the Torah, he explained that, what's hiding behind it. And he said, I don't understand. You telling me that the Nazarite not allowed to get contaminated to his close relationship, while a Kohen, that obviously a Kohen that served in Bet HaMikdash, allowed to get contaminated, except the Kohen Gadol, okay? Kohen Gadol, no. Only in certain cases, again, with this Kohen Gadol. But we're talking in general, that the normal Kohen idiot, normal Kohen, allowed to get to contaminated to his close relationship, and he worshiping, and he work in the house of God, he allowed to get contaminated. But the Nazarite, not allowed to get contaminated, how can it be? How did you come to such a difficult decision? Rabbi Aaron Levy explained it so beautifully, and he actually make it so simple for us to understand that answer. And he said like this. Then Rabbi Aaron Levy, when a Kohen born, no one asked him if he's a Kohen or not. He born to a father that is a Kohen. He immediately get this honor of Keter Kehuna, the honor of the crown of Kehuna, of becoming a Kohen. He's from the descendants of the Kohanim. Obviously, his father is a proper Kohen, and Psul, there's nothing that can cause any problem, okay, in a Kohuna. But if he's a proper Kohen, he's allowed to get contaminated. But the Nazarite, he said, that he took on himself the Nazarite is a different. He said when a Kohen born, no one asked him. And if you're going to give him this test, that you're going to tell him not to get contaminated to his closer relationship, it's a very difficult test, because the Kohen sometimes very close to his father, very close to his mother, or to his brother, or to his sister. And because they're so close, it's a very difficult test to ask him to stay. Why? Because no one gave him a choice. He born as a Kohen. He said, but when a Nazarite take on himself the Nazirut to become a Nazarite, he know that he mustn't cut his hair, he know that he's not allowed to drink wine, and etc., anything to do with grapes, for example. One of the things he have to understand that he can't contaminate it to his close relationship. So before he take on himself that Nazarite, he obviously asked himself, and he done count of the deeds. Can he take that thing on himself or not? If he took it on himself, that means that he know that if will be a test like this, he obviously understand that he cannot get contaminated. He said that's the main difference, and that's the difference between a Kohen and a Nazir. Nazir, it's an option. No one told you to take that Nazarite. You took it on yourself for a month, for 6 months, for a year, whatever. But you knew that might going to be a test like this. And if you take it, you have to understand that that's where you have to stand up on this test. While the Kohen doesn't have a choice. He born as a Kohen. No one asked him. So it's not fair to tell a Kohen that he gone contaminated to his closer relationship. And that's the difference between a Kohen and the Nazarite. Be'ezrat Hashem, HaKadosh Baruch Hu will give us the string and will give us the opportunity that we learn from this show, number one, that to create peace in the world, to bring peace between man and his fellow friend, between a husband and wife, to keep ourselves pure. And HaKadosh Baruch Hu, please God, will see that there is unity and there is purity in the Jewish people. And that will bring automatically to holiness. He will send Mashiach Tzidkenu, and he will build the third Bet HaMikdash speedily in our day, and will say enough to all of our sorrow and agony and pain that the Jewish people suffering. Please God, we'll see Mashiach Tzidkenu speedily in our day. Amen. If there is any question, now it's the time. Please unmute yourself and you can ask.
It's Anthony. Hello. How are you?
Antonio, how are you? I'm so happy
Right.
to hear.
I want to know the duchening in this week's parsha. Why is it that in Israel we duchen every day and in Chutz La'aretz only on festivals?
Okay, so the answer to it is, first of all, the Sfaradim duchen every day. If there is a Kohen, they duchen every day. Even in the diaspora.
Yes.
Even in
I see.
diaspora. That's according to Minhag Amkubalim, Minhag Yerushalayim. That's the Minhag of Yerushalayim. The Kabbalistic rabbi do that. Okay?
Yes, I
One,
see that.
but wait, I didn't answer it. One diaspora, the Minhag is the Ashkenazi Minhag not to duchen. So, and why dafka only on festival? The question is because listen to that they explain that the spirituality and the holiness that you can receive is only in Eretz Yisrael. That's why you can duchen every day. But in a festival, we get a special ha'ara, a special lightning that's coming, that every festival, we get the same power and the lightning that was in that festival, the same ha'ara, she'era be'oto me'ora. I'm actually saying the word that they explain, the Kabbalistic, okay? And therefore, on a Yom Tov, okay, in a festival, you can duchen. You understand, Anthony?
Yes, it's clearer now. Yes, I see that. Thanks very much.
Pleasure. Any other question, Rabotai? No, in that case, I would like to take the opportunity to wish you all a great Shabbos, to wish you all keep well, keep safe, and please God, we'll meet on Sunday and we'll try to explain the idea. We may be going to start Kaddish. I didn't decide what shiur, but one of the things that I would like to explain, why we don't say Tahanun until Yud Gimel Besivan. That's one of the ideas that maybe we'll speak part of the show, Be'ezrat Hashem. But in the meantime, to wish you all a good night, keep safe, keep well, look after yourself, and a great Shabbos to all of you. Good night, everyone.
Good night. Thank you, Rov. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Rob.
Have a good Shabbos. Have a good Shabbos. Thank you.
Rob, thank you.